This is chocolate coconut bars with raisin and almonds. I wanted raisins in my chocolate. Started with the usual cocoa butter and baker's chocolate to put it in the double boiler and melt. We'll add sweetener later. As it starts to boil, we need to turn it down. Now lining a cake pan with wax paper is a good way to start. Then I dumped a pound of raisins into the cake pan. Meanwhile, the chocolate has been melting on the stove. I had to break the raisins up. They were very clumpy. That's when I thought, well, I'll put just a wee bit of oil on it. And I just gotten this avocado oil, and that seemed like a pretty safe oil to use. Olive seemed a little too heavy. I wanted something very fine and thin and healthful to help keep the raisins from sticking together. And it was quite effective, I must say. I used my fingers to mix it and to break up the lumps, and finally to level them and smooth them out in the bottom. Then I put a nice layer of shredded coconut, unsweetened shredded coconut. I thought that would really enhance the chocolate bars, to have layers. And I also wanted to fill in some of the gaps between the raisins, just a little bit. And the chocolate's melting nicely. So you can see there's still a few lumps of baker squares in there, and that's what we're stirring out. Squishing it against the side, moving it around so that it doesn't sit there and get its own little insulated spot in the chocolate. The water underneath is still boiling. And then we turn it off and we take it to the counter. And we need to add sugar. I added about a quarter cup of coconut palm sugar. You can use maple syrup, you can use honey. Then, seeing that I didn't have very much and I wasn't sure I had enough, I thought, well, I'll add some coconut oil. And I didn't dare put too much coconut oil in, and I did, in fact, put a little too much, but this worked out to about 20% coconut oil. Got that stirred and melted in. Took a little while to melt. One big lump was particularly stubborn, so I cut it into smaller chunks, and that worked rather well. So then we're ready to dump it on the chocolate, or on the raisins. And no, I don't have enough. Nowhere near enough. So more chocolate. I went and got some more some more out of my stores. I always keep a little extra chocolate because it's lifeblood around here. Onto the stove it goes, back in the double boiler. So I just kind of chilled for a while. I needed to put coconut oil in this too. I didn't put quite as much in. Still, it works out to about a quarter cup of coconut oil in there. Quite a bit. Actually, I think I might have put more in at this point. And stirred it in. And poured that onto the mixture of raisins. Oh yes, I had to add sugar again. Again with the quarter cup of sugar. Actually, I think I went a little bit lower on this one. Then I decided that this dish would be really nice with a top dressing of almonds. So after I poured the rest of the chocolate in, and now I did have enough, it was quite nice. In fact, it almost seemed flooded, but that's all right because the almonds were going on top. So I sprinkled several layers. Each time I would give it a little shake, and a lot of them would sink down into the chocolate. And I wanted them to be visible, but stuck in the chocolate, and I didn't want any gap areas. So I just kind of teased it and eased it and added a little more in spots and gave it a nice even layer of pretty almonds. After which it's time to go in the fridge and chill. You'll know it's chilled because when you take it out, it has a waxy instead of a shiny finish all over. Dump it out, and now you see the beauty of the wax paper. It's much easier to peel off than the pan would be. And I did not chill this one long enough. I was too eager to eat it, so the center didn't finish chilling. But I was able to get them into the pans and chill them a little bit more. And in the meantime, I got to have a couple with my afternoon coffee, and they were delicious. Let's try my new chocolates. See, they're layered. Raisin on the bottom, coconut in the middle, almond on top. A little too soft. Maybe a little too much oily. But a nice combination. I'm going to reduce the proportions of oil in future. With the coconut oil, It is a way of stretching it out, definitely.